So welcome to week 5. So today we are going to talk about overcoming objections and using our monthly host tracker. So, but before we jump into those topics, I do want to cover some of the things that we kind of have talked about throughout our journey here so far, being in week 5. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the belief triangle. So we kind of did the belief pillars and the belief triangle. So how are your beliefs changing with everybody? And then how and are your actions speaking louder than your doubts? And are you experiencing the results you are looking for in your business? So I'm going to pause here talking and let some of you guys come off mute and kind of answer those questions. It's Kara, if you can see, if you want to kind of pick people, or I can.
Kara,
I can. That's fine.
Kara, ask
Yes.
Marianne what her belief in herself is.
All right, I'm unmuting you. Well, she already did. All right, Marianne, how's it going?
My belief is that I'm going to have a qualifying party before the 15th of this month.
Awesome.
I'm just going to Disney.
Awesome.
Very good. Fantastic. And then, Leisha, how about yourself?
My belief is that this month I am going to catch up on what I was lacking last month in sales.
Okay.
Awesome. And kudos, last time you couldn't figure out how to unmute yourself and you got it this time. So good job.
So that's right, progress.
Yeah, we all learn along the way. So that's awesome.
And you don't have to tell us, but do you have that specific number of what you need to do to make up that?
Oh God, no.
Okay, so that is a thing to do because you can't shoot in the dark.
Yep.
And also, like, work with your director on where you should be at the end of this month and see what you need to do this month and next month to make that up. Just a little backstory. When I first earned Disney my first time, I needed 46,000 points as a director to go level 1. And I came to the end of September, and I would have had October, November. I had 3 months left of the earning period, and I still needed 28,000 points to go. And I had already promised a 4-year-old that we were going. So I had to work very hard in 3 months. I did it. It was my very first trip in 2010. Starting now is a lot sooner than waiting till September to figure out where you are. So hold that close, the monthly earnings and where you need to make up, so you're always staying on track or close to where you need to be for that end result.
And don't beat yourself up if you don't make it 1 month like you're doing right now. That is very positive. Okay, so this month I'm going to make up that difference. It's too easy to get stuck down. So Liz, hello. What we're doing, Liz, is we're talking about how our beliefs have changed since we started this. If you're comfortable, if you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear it. You'd have to unmute yourself, my dear.
Hey, sorry I'm late. Had to get kids in bed.
You're
So
good.
how our beliefs have changed since we started our training?
Correct.
Well, I think just it's nice to kind of have this check-in and accountability. I mean, obviously we have it with our teams, but just to hear some new strategies to use and to know that we're all doing it together. So I guess that's how my beliefs have changed a little bit.
Okay.
That's great. So also with our beliefs, we also went through and we did our positive affirmations. So with that, just making sure we have our positive affirmations written down. We're stating them out loud 2 times a day. And I apologize, my husband and son just got home from our Iowa Hawkeye basketball game, and the dogs are barking frantically till they get in the house. We're stating our affirmations out loud 2 times a day. We have them posted in a clear place that we're seeing them and that we've shared them. If it be with our director, our upline director, a friend, an accountability partner, your spouse, anybody. Who are you taking to Disney with you? Did you share it with them? Anybody, whoever you're sharing it with, to make sure that this comes through. And make sure, do you see a change in your mindset with your saying these? Are you keeping them positive? Is it personal? Present tense, I am. Visual, and making sure that they have an emotional attachment to you. If you have more questions about positive affirmations, any of us can help. You can message me or any of us directors on the call, and we can work with you on getting them if you haven't done yet. But very important to keep up with those. And then too many computers here. And then tracking your contacts. So we've kind of pretty much talked about this since day one, but tracking your contacts, making sure they're two-way contacts, making sure we're getting 25 of them a week, and then following up with those that we haven't heard back from. You know, maybe we are now in week 5, so we started this over 4 weeks ago. Go back to week 1 that you started tracking, and who did you not hear from? I will post something that I saw that was on a coffee talk this morning that somebody posted, and I thought it was really good verbiage and wording. It said, hey, I'm just making sure that you saw the message above. I haven't heard back from you in a while, and I just want to make sure you're still interested in hosting a show and that we get it scheduled as I'm filling my calendar up now, or something to those extent. I'll go back and post it on the group when this is over. But it was a really good verbiage for those Facebook messages or texts that you've been sending. And you could even say it over the phone if you're calling in person. And then how many parties did you guys book this last week? I would love to hear from anybody who booked parties, or put your hands up with a number of, show a number of on, you know, on your screen, how many shows did you book?
I have nailed down 2 more shows and a vendor event.
Awesome. Leisha got 3. That's super awesome, Sauce. Good job. Proud of you. Look at that. She's getting those show sales like she said. We have a 501. That's a phone number. You might be on mute. If you want to unmute and just shout out, how many did you book any shows this week? Maybe they can't hear.
I'm the 501. This is April. I'm at the airport and it's loud here.
Yeah, no, 5. Yeah, that's okay. Did you book any shows this week? You've had a hectic week, so probably not.
I'm up to 11. I'm up to 11 for February, and my my March is looking really good.
Awesome.
So yes, did a bunch of calls.
Woohoo!
And mind you, she's
I'm
also
going back on mute.
okay. She's also been caring for a child who had surgery this week too, so that's awesome. She flew halfway across the United States in this lovely weather. Oh, I guess she wouldn't be. She's down south far enough. If you live in the Midwest, you have been trampled with some horrid weather. For us that live, yes, I know. And we have. I live in Iowa, and we have another 4 to 8 inches coming tomorrow night through Tuesday. So all of you east of me, good luck. You're getting that a couple days later. So yeah, so just make sure that we are doing this, and it gets easier with time, and then, you know, it improves your business. So just remember all those things. So now here we are going to start with overcoming the objections. So some of these slides are kind of wordy and they're kind of long, but what I'm going to say is I put most of it on there just because I want it there for you guys to have it later. I'll post this PowerPoint onto the homepage when I'm done, so that the words are there for you when you, if you need them to go back and follow through, because I thought that these were really good ways to overcome some of these objections. And I have to say myself, I will be using some of this verbiage and going back. So making sure when you have a no, again, we've talked about it before, it doesn't mean no, not never. It just maybe means no, not now. So we have to figure out why. So we have to feel the felt found of why somebody is saying no, and making sure we're responding with empathy, we're understanding and a knowledge of their feelings, that maybe this isn't a good time for them, and figure out why it's not a good time for them. And then what are some of the most common objections? So the things that I was shown today were, I don't need any products. So I thought this was kind of interesting when somebody says, oh, I don't need anything. I actually just had this objection the other day, and I love it. So I know how you feel. I have a host who who own almost everything in the catalog. But what I have found is many of them have a favorite charity that they like to help. Would you like to do a fundraiser show for your favorite charity? I thought that was genius. Or the bottom one says, would you like to host a party and then take the things for gifts throughout the year to give them to people? I also, you could kind of tie them in together. I do a lot of silent auction baskets for different charities that are coming up, or different fundraisers. And I've just been hit up this week for 4 baskets. So, you know, it's a good thing. I know I'm in direct sales, so that's why they contact me, but it's nice just to even do a mystery host party, or tell them it could be a mystery host party or whatever. There's a lot of ways that somebody could host a show, and they don't necessarily have to redeem the rewards. You know, they can use them for somebody else. Do they know somebody who's had like a house fire, or somebody who is in, you know, in a bad situation that, you know, is it an abuse situation that they had to move out and they're starting over, anything like that. We could help them get new products. Okay, this is like delayed every time I hit it. So I don't do parties. This is kind of one of my favorite objections. I love when I get this. So again, your empathy, making sure I know how you feel. I have several friends that don't host parties, but what I found that is that they love to attend them. Would you be interested to come to my quarterly mystery host party? Or would you still host a party? And I even put out, would you host a virtual party? And you can give it the stuff away as a blessings party and give it to somebody who needs stuff. You know, again, same concept. My friends don't have any money. I've run into this one a couple times. I'm actually hosting a party right now for somebody who said that. So we'll see what happens. And I said, I understand how you feel. I'm always reluctant to invite someone to a party who is struggling financially, but I have found that sometimes it's the one night that they get out. So there's no obligation to buy. Plus we have over 80 products that are under 10 bucks. So why don't we have a fun night out and get your friends together? And you know, when somebody's worried about money, I just say, you know what, it's at least an outing out. And the other thing too is, you never know, you might, on a little side note, you might be the blessing that that person needs, because they might need to start a business because of the situation that they're in. So think of that way too. You know, so there's a little bit more to it than just coming and joining a party and they may or may not buy anything. You may be the thing that they've been looking for like a side job. And I always talk about the virtual parties, and they can do it from home and different things like that too, because of where my life's been the last 3 years. It doesn't take away from the busy lives that people have. They can work this into any life. And that kind of, there's another topic about that later. I thought this one was pretty classic. So I got the smallest tiny house I could find online. So my house is too small. So, and then again, I understand how you feel. I have a host who have felt the same way, but all I need is like a table and I could do a show anywhere. And I used to say, I've done shows in bars, in the back room of like community centers. You know, is there like an area that you have like I live in a condo, and so we have a community room building. There's clubhouse, that's what they call it, a clubhouse, and I use that occasionally. Really, you can work around anything. I remember somebody once telling me on one of the vacations that they were doing a show, and the lady said, well, I have a lot of animals, exotic animals, and they put blankets all over them, but she was between like snakes and tarantulas and all this other stuff, and they literally put her I don't care, shaking her head, they literally put her table in between like that stuff, and she just did the show in between that. And then there was like 2 potbelly pigs in the kitchen. I mean, you know, if you're willing to go do it, there are shows out there. So just don't ever give up. And then, or do you know a friend that you could do a buddy show together? So I'm just kind of ad-libbing some of those, but I'm leaving the full verbiage there for you guys to go back, and I'll post this afterwards that you guys can go back and get it from the group page. Then the next one, there we go. I don't know anybody. They're new to a new area, or they, you know, there's just a lot of reasons people are newer to an area and different things like that. So again, I know how you feel. I felt the same way when I had a show. But I have found that, you know, you look at your Christmas card list, or if you've recently had a wedding in the family, a wedding list. I've thought of several people to invite. You could help them brainstorm. So I talked about this last week. I screwed it up when I started spelling friends, but it's really Frank's. So F is in friends, R is in relatives, A is acquaintances, neighbors, kids, clubs, and then your spouses. Go through it. Your spouse's friends, relatives, acquaintance, neighbors, kids, clubs. You know, there's just a lot of people that you could go through and, you know, I just realized that I have something on the screen, sorry, use. So, and then also the bottom one, I want you to have a super successful party, and I want to help you brainstorm on people who to invite. There's tons of people that love Pampered Chef. I also like to ad lib in there, and I like to put into, we never truly really know somebody's financial well-being, obviously. And so, you know, you just invite the people, and if they want to come, they'll come. And if they want to spend, they'll spend. And there's no guilt. With the other one about no money, there's no guilt of if somebody spends money at a party, they know their limits, and they, you know, so people should not be worried about that. So this is just a really good slide. Just remember Frank's when you're looking for that. Even sometimes I have to go back and look at my Frank's list, or even redraw up a new Frank's list of things, of new people that you've met along the way, to try to get new acquaintances and people to book shows. So this one, I thought Lucille Ball said it best. I don't have any time. I'm too busy. If you want something done, ask a busy person to do it. The more things you do, the more you can do. And that is so very true. So I don't think being busy is a reason you can't have a show. I think when you're busy, you have the best shows possible. That's my own philosophy. I think we've all figured that out in life. There's a lot of people who do this business as full-time, and this is their career. And there's some of us that do it alongside of a full-time job. So people do what they want to do when they want to do it. So this is, I think, an easy objection to overcome. So there's 3 different things you can stay here. I won't go into details, but you guys could read those at your convenience. So this is really one that sticks home to me. I never let anybody get away with this excuse. This one does not work in my eyes. And then I have tried to have parties before, but no one comes. So that's not, I mean, I just like to say, well, I'll make sure that you have the best party possible. We'll go through host coaching process and I'll work with you along the way. It's a little hard to read, but I just found it online, and I'll take it and post it out directly too. But Pampered Chef, go to PCU University, right? Am I saying that right? PCU. On the Pampered Chef website, they have so many different things out there for the host coaching. If you're not host coaching, you really need to be host coaching. It is like the essential part of us, being in the party business. If it's virtual, if it's live, whatever it may be. I do most of my host coaching via Facebook Messenger. And then I send out like a little postcard or a little letter right before the party starts to talk about the timeline of how the party goes. So there's just a lot of ways that you can host coach. Everybody does it differently, but very essential to make sure people have successful parties. And the number one thing that your host job to do, your number one task for your host to do is she needs to invite people and get people to attend. And then you do your job by, once you get there, showing all the products and what you do. So I'm new to the area. Similar to the one before. So have them get to know their neighbor party. If you're new somewhere, why not host a party to get all your new neighbors out so you get to meet who they are? And you could also run it at the same time with a Facebook virtual party, so they could invite all the people who, like, in their old state or in their old neighborhood. If it's in the same town, they could still invite those. But I would assume if they move from state to state, then they could invite all the people who live from afar as well. So I kind of went over that quickly, but are there other objections that I maybe missed that you guys want to cover? Anybody? Anybody struggling with anything that they've received doing their list of 25? No? Don't be shy. We're here to help. No? Okay. And there, again, PCU has a lot of information on there too. So don't be afraid. And if you have stumbled across one this week, post it on the group and we can respond and help you get answers to those objections that you're getting. So the last part of the, yeah.
I was just going to say, one of the easiest ways to go into that, the feel, felt, found, there, found, felt, the whole thing is immaculate. It usually does really well with that. But another thing, if you get caught up with wording you're new, that someone told me is to just go, hey, can you explain to me why you feel like that? Because sometimes it's just a hang up or a misconception or something like that. So getting them to talk to you why they feel that way. I have a really small house, or I don't like my kitchen. Sometimes they're gorgeous kitchens and you're like, if I had your kitchen, blah, blah, blah. So just trying to get them to see why they feel that way helps with that too. And I just want to throw that in there because that helped me a lot when I got started, because you don't always remember the right wording at that moment, but sometimes that also helps trigger it when they start answering questions too.
Yep.
I have something on that same thing too, if I can, Lori. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead. Yep.
I did a party last fall with a pharmacist, and she had been married to a person anyway, and then divorced from him. But she had moved from a 12,000 square foot house to a 4,000 square foot house.
Oh my
and
God.
she honestly thought, just listen though, guys, okay? So in her mind, her home wasn't good enough. Her kitchen was too small. Do you see what I'm saying? So I had to ask her honestly what she felt. Now, I didn't ever tell her that, oh my goodness, if I only had a kitchen like yours, because in her own mind, do you see what it's just crazy to me. And she still has, I mean, probably a morbid lack of self-worth, probably because of how he had treated her. But I just think it's crazy that, you know, what we think is great, maybe other people think is not. So we definitely have to ask them to voice their opinion. Even though I'm a talker, we have to have them voice their opinion and then talk them through that too. Because she had a party and she had bookings from those parties, and I'm still going. And I saw her at a hockey game last weekend, and she knows me, my first name and everything. You know, it's just crazy to me.
That's awesome. I was just going to say, and yours goes with it too. It's almost like us getting to our why. Why are we doing this business? Why do people join Pampered Chef? It's the same thing for hosts. And then too, that's why they're great recruiting opportunities, because they're doing it for a reason. There's a why there, and it all kind of stems to the same thing. Figure out the why they are saying no. Why do they have objection? Why do they not want to do it? And that's the same, almost the same as for us getting, why are we doing this business? Same concept.
If they seem excited about having a party, whether it's in a virtual party or if they've ordered a lot through a catalog party or at the party yourself, at the party itself, if it's a live party, if they've seemed excited, you know, you need to say, hey, you seem so excited, you know, so what has changed? You just need to get, I don't know, it's all about relationships, always about relationships.
Yep, very much so. Yeah.
Hey, this is April. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So one of the things that I sometimes hear is that people will say, everyone I know is here. I don't know anyone that could be able to, you know, I don't know anybody else to invite. And you have to just go into the, oh gosh, you know, we have a different special next month. We'll do different tools. We'll do different recipes. And, you know, so it's going to be, you know, are you getting everything you want today? And they'll say, oh, no. It's like, well, neither is anyone else. And so that really helps a lot when that objection comes up, I think.
I love that, Lauren.
I love that too. That's awesome. That's great. Anybody else? Anybody working on the 25 that you had any objections, that you had a hard time coming back with an answer? And again, you can put them out on the page and we can help answer them throughout the week as well. So something else when you're going through, you have the objections, you get your parties booked. So just like the list of 25, tracking, I don't care if you're doing this digitally or you're doing it on paper, but just tracking is so important. Knowing the number of, just the number of shows you're holding each month. Leisha, this is kind of what we started with, knowing where you're at. So I want you to go back. I want everybody, it's going to be part of our Take Action. Everybody's going to go back and start tracking what they did in January. You're going to go and track what you're doing in February. Moving forward for the rest of the year, you need to track month by month. Number of shows you're holding. How much, how many shows does the average growing consultant hold every month? The company standard was, it's 8 shows. No, is it 8 shows? But it's also, they were doing the average show average is 450. I guess I don't know where that question came from because I don't know the answer to that one. Sorry. But do you know your average? Do you know your show average? Like I knew my kitchen show average and I know my virtual show average. I do very few kitchen shows right now, or cooking shows. Sorry, that tells you how old I am. Kitchen shows are very old terminology. But I'm going to go, you know, as I'm going back and doing more, I have 3 March live shows booked, the most I've done in 3 years. So very excited. Got 1 more to go for March. But with that, you know, make sure you know where your show averages are. So you know how many shows you need to book each month to make sure you're meeting the qualifications to earn Disney. Very important for your tracking. The next category is how many guests are coming to your shows. And then out of that, what is their purchasing totals? And I believe somebody said it, and I can't remember which one of you guys said it at one of our calls, but go back through and, oh, it was Nicole. How much are you talking about at your shows? If it would be virtual or if it be catalog, go through, write it down. What items are you taking? What are you talking about? How much is their value? You need to be talking about $1,000 or more in products during your show, virtual or live. I don't care what it is. I do not post anything on a virtual show that is under $25. And I now do week-long shows. I do 2, one at the beginning, one at the end of every day. If it would be like a recruiting or a booking or a tip or a trick or whatever it may be, I post those at the beginning, and then I post every 2 hours from 8 to 8. So in between between 10 and 6,
Oh, Lori, you froze. I don't know if you can hear us. Lori's frozen. I'll hang on just a second. All right, everybody else is still on, correct? Lori's the only one frozen? Nod your heads. Okay. So you can, Natalie, do you want to keep talking to this? Do you want me to? What's on her slide so far until she gets back on?
But I totally just lost you guys. Are you
Yeah,
back?
you're back. Yeah, you're
Oh my
back.
God, that was the craziest thing ever. I have no clue. If my
You were stuck like this too with your hand up in the air like, and you were gone.
I'm like, oh my God, my internet just crashed. I had a fear that this would happen. Okay, let's go back to this slide. Let's see if I can get you guys. Let me figure this out again. Oh, right when she thinks she's got it all down, right?
Computers, your best friends and your worst enemies all at the same moment.
Okay, and then now.
All right. Yep, there it goes.
There we go.
Go to full screen now.
Yep, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
That was the biggest fear, you guys, at this.
It was just a commercial break. That's all. We just
Oh my
watched the commercial and now you're back. You're good.
Well, our cable, the TV picture of the main TiVo box keeps going out, and I'm like, oh my God, watch the internet go out during this presentation. So, anyways, I'm a little fearful.
So talk
anyway,
fast.
So just make sure number of parties you're doing, number of guests coming to your party, average order. So how many people need to come to their party to get the show total that you want? So work smarter, not harder, kind of a concept there. Overall party sales, what are your average shows? What are your average show sales? How can you boost them up? How can you get them up? Tips on that we kind of went over. And then how much outside orders? I like to do the 5, 15, or the 5, 10, 5. So it'd be like getting 5 outside orders before the show, 10 at the show, 5 after the show. Anybody else run that? Is that right? Making sure you get minimum 15 orders. Try to make them $75 orders, and you pretty much have your $1,000 show. And then number of bookings. We kind of talked about this. You really need to book at the show. When you're booking at the show, so much easier, so much less work for everybody. If you can get 2 shows per, that's really what you need to work for when you're going to shows. We naturally just sell. So once you're in that target range and you have your show sales where you want them, that is just like riding a bicycle. You've got that down. Yes, Natalie?
Okay, so a couple of things. One thing, I had talked to Anthony McClellan about this a couple of years ago, and he asked me, now I've sold for 20 years this month. However, 2 years ago, he had sold for what, maybe 4 years, and I had sold for 18 years, and he said, do you know what your average order is?
Yep.
And I had never even thought about that. So I looked back, and so I was like, oh my gosh, it's pretty low. Actually, it was pretty low. He goes, do you know why? So he worked with me on that for a little bit, and now my average order is boosted up. And it's good to know our average order on each show so we can tell our host, okay, your average order is this much. Based on that, you need to get 5 more orders to boost you up to this amount.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That is really important. And then another thing, so something that I have told my team, And this is, Marianne was at my live meeting, and so was Danielle on Monday, this last Monday. And I told them if they think all of their bookings are going to be coming just from parties, I said, you are morbidly mistaken. So I still tell them, you know, the tracking, the 25 contacts every week. Plus, if you don't get those bookings at the party, okay, or the party bombs, or it's a $200 party, or hardly qualifying party, or there's like one person there, you know, whatever can happen in all of these variables, you need to be willing to get on the phone or on, you know, texting, messaging, whatever, anybody, and get 2 bookings even outside of that party before that party closes to make up for those 2 bookings per party.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's way easier to book at the party, but it does not happen every time. I have to say I've been in a stalemate all year. Since December, I'm struggling getting virtual parties booked. So I'm going to reach out to some virtual party consultant experts on what I'm doing wrong all of a sudden. But I have to say it is critical that if you're not booking them at the show, you're staying on top of, and you need to do it regardless, like Natalie said. Regardless, you should stay on your contacts at 25, because really is all it's doing is really padding you. If it'd be making up for last month or adding for next, you know, is all you're doing is earning the trip sooner. And then you're just going to be in level 2. And look at that. Then we're going to just have more fun at Disney. You know, there's ways that you go with all of that when it adds more to it. And then last but not least, it's also helping you keep track of all those potential recruit leads to make sure you're following up with them too. Again, a recruit lead gives you 3,000 points once they do 1250 in like their first 90 days, 30 days, 90 days, 90 days, right? It tells you, sorry, I may have not recruited anybody in a while. So there you go. So that is those. So, and then our takeaway homework, again, I'll post this out, but make sure we are, if you haven't already done so, you will do so. April, do you have questions?
Hey, this is April. Yeah, I was going to say something on the 30 or 90 days. Actually, you still get the 3,000 trip points as long as they qualify before they drop off the world, you know, like the period.
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So that's a good thing. Sometimes people are slow to come out of the chute, and then finally they're like, oh, okay, it's time for me to do a party now. And you have not lost your chance of being able to get those points as long as you keep working with them.
Yep. It's just before they drop out of their 6 months, really, right?
No, it doesn't matter. It can take as long as it needs to, but what they can't do is go that 2 months inactive in a row because their sales are off at 0. So even if it just has to be $1,250 in sales consistent back to back, and then you qualify. Because I had one that did it almost a year in and finally did it, and I got their points.
Okay.
But they did. It was just little bits and pieces throughout the months. They did like $200 a month.
Okay. So you can find this beautiful tracker that I posted earlier. That is on PCU. I'll find it as well and post it on the page, but I do want you guys to kind of go in there and find it yourselves. Print those out month by month so you can start tracking. Go back. Don't forget to do January so we know where we are, what we need to make up for. Did you post your Disney tracker? If not, get going, print it out, fill it out, get it somewhere where it's visible. Mine is on the kitchen fridge. Along with your positive affirmations. Make sure if you haven't already done so, they need to be created. You need to get them posted, and you need to state them twice a day out loud and share with whoever your accountability partner is during that. And then make sure you are continually doing and tracking your 25 weekly contacts. This really just creates you to have the best business footing known to mankind. I think a lot of people on this call can kind of, who's been around a while like me, can say that, you know, these things have been out here forever, but you, for whatever reason, like we talked about last time, you just kind of forget, you do them, they work well for you, for whatever reason we stop doing them, and we just go back, and when you start doing them again, it's crazy how your business blossoms again. And making sure that we are being positive, so be positive, fill your calendar, and just have a fantastic week. Next week is going to be, Kara, is it you? No, it's Natalie. Unmute yourself. Do you know what you're talking about, Natalie?
I am talking about looking at shows, I believe, right?
Oh, good.
Good timing.
I think it is.
Good job. That's a good topic. I'm on board with that. Yeah. So thank you all for coming. Does anybody have any questions? I went over that kind of quickly. Kind of my forte. I talk fast.
Can I pick your brain, Miss Lori?
Yeah.
So do you do mostly virtuals now?
Currently, correct. I do about 15 a month.
And I know host coaching is the #1 thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How many posts do you do a day? Does that matter? Does it matter?
Does it matter on a show? No. So I start my posts. So I started with 1-hour shows many moons ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. With all the changes in Facebook, it's just been really hard to do 1-hour shows. So with that, I used to do like a 2 to 3 day pre-party, a 1-hour show, and then a 3 to 4 day post-party. So it was still 7-day show. At conference, they were very clear that your people here do not care if it's a 1 day, 3 day, whatever it may be. And I found that it was really hard for people to commit to that 1 hour, even because I did them on Sunday nights, actually like during this call time. So now I do them for 1 week. I run them Sunday to Sunday. I start posting at 8 a.m. I end at 8 p.m. and I do every 2 hours. So
do you do Post My Party or Cint Share, or do you?
I use Cint Share only because I learned Cint Share 3 or 4 years ago, and I just wasn't going to learn anything else. I just couldn't do it. I love Cint Share. I don't see any changes. They keep up really quickly when Facebook changes. They let us know why or how or whatever changes. You have to use groups now. You can't post in events. So I have to use groups, but groups have pretty much become events. People have to accept their invitation to a group. You're not automatically fed into it anymore. So I host coach and tell them what to do. They have to put something on their wall. Like today I, started a show. So yesterday she put a blurb that I'm hosting a Pampered Chef virtual party this week. Please let me know if I missed you, or go check your groups to join the group. And then now Facebook is also deleting people in groups that are not active. So I do throw in like a little bit of games just to get them active. And that then helps them stay in the group and see things, because when they're active, then it actually shows up on their wall. If they're not active, it won't show up on their wall.
But Lori, isn't that the one where they're taking people out if it's been like weeks that they're inactive, not just a matter of days?
So they don't see anything right now if they don't join. And so I try to just even put a thing out there and then try to have the host message.
Right.
The biggest thing that they're removing people from, those are like all the old groups that there's no activity.
Right.
So all the old groups, they've probably removed most of the people from. The unfortunate part is you can't like really lead a group, which I've struggled with. So that's the hard part. But I also like to sometimes go back through and just randomly post in there specials, consultant news, or just new product information. You just get leads from old parties too. So sometimes I continually post in the old parties as well.
That's a good idea.
I'm on a whim. I just kind of will, like when we had the 30, 29, 39, I don't even know. When we had the reduced kit cost, post that in there. The monthly specials on the 1st, I try to post in there. Different things like that. Kind of just a way that you kind of go back through and kind of double check and track and just kind of see if anybody has any questions, like new products coming out. I'll probably go back 6 months and post in those.
What's your show average for a virtual party?
$850 right now.
$850. Do you make sure that they have like 100 people invited?
Yeah.
Okay, 100.
I go by the more the merrier. So you could invite 400 and I wouldn't care, but a minimum.
Then how many on average are attending from that?
30. They need 30 participating guests, and I make them go through and message 30 people to kind of get them to like.
Do you have a template that you use for host coaching?
It's in my head at this point, but I could probably go through and send you stuff.
That would be great, because I have people on my team. I am not a virtual party consultant, but I have people on my team, actually new ones, and like Leisha too. She has lots and lots of questions about virtual parties.
Her and I are friends, so we've actually been working. I asked her to do a couple of mine. Leisha,
but I also, there's like Danielle and. Go ahead, Leisha. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's been a huge help to kind of just silently follow her shows and take little things here and there.
Yeah, but I can send you kind of too, like what I am sending them privately too, to show them, to get them to work up. I could even do it in like an Evernote or on a Word doc and then send it to you. It's really kind of just taking the host coaching documents that we already have and we already know, and you just kind of put that in a virtual world. Like, they need to make sure they're, like we used to say, invite 40 people to your home show. I kind of double it or triple it in a virtual, just because not everybody's going to partake and not everybody's going to show up. And then I just kind of get them excited on where they are. So like, I actually feel like maybe the show I invited Alicia to, which was really funny. I had 3 that week, and it was the same show. And one was like over $1,100 closed. One was $450, and one was $32. And you don't know why. Like, it was the same show. I did the same messaging to each of them. I truly believe it does kind of come down to your host a little bit. The $1,100 host, she wanted the double free. When she got so close to 1,000, she was shooting for the stars and like and she was show too. She was posting a lot as well. So I think too, like making sure they're not afraid to post and do different things. And I try to give them like a little daily task of some sort. I don't even know who told me to do that. Somebody along the way. But I have to say, like, I just hosted a show for a different company. We did a show swap or whatever this week. And it's just interesting. You kind of learn the different things that different people do. And then I just try to, when I can, I try to ask if I can get added to a couple people's events just to see what other people are doing. Yeah.
Isn't it true? Engaged hosts make all the difference no matter what type of party it is.
Very much so.
You can have, I mean, I have stories about parties that are flops and you drive an hour to them, seriously. And then you have a show that's 10 minutes away and it's, $1,200. So it's, or vice versa, whatever. So it's the same thing with virtual. And Pampered Chef had said something at conference last year that the difference between a virtual and a home show, the only difference is that you're not leaving your home. So you still need to engage the host, I'm still just trying to wrap my head around all of this and not stop learning.
The biggest difference is I do not go live. I need to. I used to. I stopped. I need to go back. But I don't really do anything live. But like I said, you can. Everybody does it a different way. I solely just do posts. I put all of Pampered Chef YouTube videos out there on how to use the products. And a lot of people find it very informational because they're getting the information that I would provide them at the show on how to use the products. And then I always kind of end close to the end of the day with a recipe of the products that we're making so that they say, here's a recipe that you could make, or and I try to ask questions too. Does anybody already have this product? Like if it'd be a deep cover baker or a rock, what is your favorite thing that you make in it, or why? Or, for those that may already have those items so that it's not boring for them either. Different things like that. But an engaged host is totally all the difference. And I ain't gonna lie, I've had a lot of busting virtual parties too. I overbook all the time because like I said, I try to do 3 to 4 a week. And if you have one at 1,000, one at 500 and one at $32, you're not, and I was short one that week, they're gonna not average out as great as they used to. And this month, I'm getting a little later start. I didn't have any last week, but I have 2 this week. So, and then I have 3 next week. So they just kind of venture in different. I ain't gonna lie, my show calendar is not near what I want it to be. And then I'm trying to get more March and more live back in my life. When I do a live show, it's always over $1,000. So that's where I would like to go back to.
So when you say your calendar's not where you want it to be, just remember about my story about the pharmacist who thought she had a little tiny kitchen.
Yeah.
Perspective. I mean, Lori, seriously, you're rocking it.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Yes. So yeah, I mean, and life happens too. So this is it's also been a very stressful couple of weeks in my life too. So I'm just rolling with the punches, and I know we got a lot coming up, and I'm just excited to be in Disney next summer with everybody. Yes. Right? Isn't that where we're all going to be?
Yes.
So yeah. Any other questions? But yeah, if anybody has any questions about virtuals, more than happy to help. I'm always not very intuitive or very chatty sometimes when it comes to messaging, but I may not get back to you right away. I'm pretty busy from 7:30 to 6 every day, but I will get back to you as soon as I can when I have 10 seconds, if you message me. And if anybody wants to join a party, I mean, I do change them up. So right now we're getting a new catalog, so my party will change. First of the year, I changed it up to healthy recipes. Obviously, November, December was more holiday theme. And then my August, September, October would have been new product theme. So I probably do like 2 to 3 different show themes every year. And then if you're doing virtuals, I strongly suggest that you change your photos to be unique for yourself. And that is just something for Facebook to get you out of Facebook jail. I've only ever landed in Facebook jail one time in my whole life, and that's when I thought I could try to do 3 one-hour parties on the same night. It was disastrous. So yeah, this works much better. And then if I
may, so I have a virtual party starting tomorrow, and it was booked off of my really successful one in January.
Okay.
And I don't do SynShare or post my party. I actually use like the Facebook timing scheduler.
Yep.
And I'd like to have more of a template. And so I'm going to go back on my successful party and copy and paste into like a document. But my question is like, for those who use like the same template, how do you do so it's not, I mean, I had really good engagement with this party. I think I had Natalie on that one. My host was engaged. She was tagging people. She was showing product of her own that works well for her and her family. And so like how, I'm going to use the same kind of, I just don't want it to be mundane. I know I'll be hitting some new people with this other one, but also have a lot of the same pool because of they work in the hospital.
Yep.
So how do you get around
Change
that?
Just Google the products and just do a different photo. Do you have an iPhone?
I do.
Okay, so I have my new favorite app. I just stumbled across it. So I used to use Typorama all the time to update photos and just kind of add silly words onto them. But I have a Text on Photo is my new favorite app. I don't know, it's just a silly app that you can add fun words in different ways on. But just change your photos up. Go to the market imagery for Pampered Chef. Yep. Download them. If the other thing I use is there is a photo editor on your iPhone. Mm-hmm. So I also run my business through my phone. I don't rarely do anything on a computer. I actually just got a new computer, but this photo editor, you can kind of collage a couple together, and then you could even like throw in like some words or verbiage on like just one of those text editor things, and then just throw it in there. And if you want to steal anything from my page, I don't care. So whatever.
Okay.
Lisa,
I can add you to my current show too, if you want.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Lisa, maybe too. It sounded like that last host, that really awesome party was because of the wonderful host too. Mm-hmm. So tell this current host, tell her it was successful because of the host, and here's what she did to create that excitement. So let's have you do the same type of thing. Tag people in the post. Put your own post up there. Give her some suggestions. Mm-hmm. And have her take the reins, to be in charge of that party too. Tell her it's a partnership.
Yeah. And I like the idea. I should actually start writing these down, but I like the idea of giving the host like an assignment to do daily to keep them more active and to see that I'd ask her to do this and that, but it was nothing consistently. And actually, the last one, she would do things on her own, which was amazing. But I just didn't know, I just don't want it to be, mundane. I know I'm going to switch out the game. And then I'm going to try to showcase, if you did, the host now really wants the knives. That's why she's hosting. And so I'm going to showcase those in a post.
And sometimes too, I even go to the extent of even flop the days that you do it. You know what? It's been long enough that they don't necessarily, if you change a photo and flop the days but use the same words, you would be shocked it could be the same engagement. I've done that too. I had my good show in January, and then I just did a show at the end of the month in January with kind of a same group and coworkers. So what I did is I just kind of went through and I kind of, on that one, I just changed some of the photos. And then I just kind of went through and kind of changed the order of the show. So it didn't look like I was maybe copying the same show. And then that way too, they don't think that you're just recycling the same show over and over. Because that's the thing too, they want it to look, and you're posting live too, so that is a little different. They say with share.
Well, I'm using, the Facebook timer I use, but I would go on and I would post live, like I'd see some meme or something and I'd, share it to the group that, just for, shits and giggles and this and that and playing games. And I mean, like I just asking them about like what color a banana. I mean, and actually some of those posts that weren't really product related got a lot more feedback
They always do.
than the Facebook games. And and then there was a lot of banter between the guests saying, "Oh, puke green banana." I mean, it was funny.
Yep. Yeah.
Lori, thank you so much. There is so much we could go through here. And,
yes.
No, you're good. And I just wanted to be sensitive to people's time because we're at about an hour. So
Perfect.
I just wanted to thank you, Lori, and then maybe we can continue Facebook or on Facebook, the page, more virtual questions and all that. And there might even be a week that's more virtual related anyway down the road. So I don't know the whole schedule. So if not, maybe we can sweet talk Lori into doing one and we can add it on at the end or something. Because I know we're all kind of struggling with that. There's also a link that's a coffee talk video recorded. It's a guy named Stephen Joseph, and he is fantastic, and he's got a lot of ideas, and he's kind of sounding the same thing as what Lori's doing, so maybe we could post that too if y'all are interested, and then you don't care, and then if April and all don't mind, I can post that out there for you guys as well.
And I have to laugh too because he just did a show with
That would be perfect.
He just did a show what?
With somebody from my hometown of 1,000 people in good old Podunk, Iowa.
And he found it?
He just did a show, and he was from Maryland. My sister's like, "Are you doing a show for blah?" And I go, "No." She did a show for me last year. So you never know where people are going to meet. I've done shows all over the United States with the virtual. So you just.
Yeah, and he's doing like 30 a month. So it's obviously working on that too. So he and Lori have got kind of the same ideas going. So I will, and April just said, yeah, go for it. So I'll post that out there. So thank you.
Yeah, by the way, too, he also has already earned the first level of Disney in the first 33 days of the year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so he's an overachiever. The rest of us are still going to do it.
Yes, right.
All right, you guys.
But
thank you
here's
so
the
much.
thing is he's an executive director. Yep, that's okay. Thanks.
No, Lori,
Thank
April,
you.
go ahead.
Great job.
April's it.
What I was going to say is he only had to have 36,000 points because he's an executive director, which he achieved in only 2 years by only doing virtual parties, and his whole team does virtual parties. So he promoted that many virtual directors. And so that's why he had hit it so fast, 36,000 points, not 56.
Okay, well, like I said, overachiever, but we're all going to still do it. No, that's awesome. He's got a great story, and he's got a lot of energy, so it's a good thing to listen to. So, all right, you guys, have a great...
Thank you so much for recording, Kara.
Not a problem.
Thank you for recording. And Lori, thank you so much for the great job. You did a super job. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks all.